baby, it's cold outside. But the topics are red hot, and we've got an entire show of them. Bannon bombshells. The explosive allegations from the former White House advisor that have the president furiously claiming Bannon's lost his mind. Lower than Lauer. Hoda Kotb's filling Matt Lauer's anchor chair. So how come she's making millions less than he did? And do you, HQ? The new trivia app Obsession that has users making money and totally losing it. Plus, Greta Van Susteren's our special guest co-host. Let's light up Hot Topics with Whoopi, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
Co-host today, please welcome our friend and author of the book, Everything You Need to Know About Social Media Without Having to Call a Kid, Greta Van Susteren.
Thank you.
And there is another book that we're going to be talking about. The reason everyone is sitting like this is because this book has come out and everybody's head is exploded.
Yes.
It's called Fire and Fury by Michael Wolff, who had full access to you-know-who's campaign and his first year in the White House. And even though they now say everything in the book is a lie, the White House has already put out a cease and desist order to the man who dropped some of the biggest bombshells, President Steve Bannon. Any thoughts, my friends, on why?
On why what?
Why any of it?
Why?
Why?
Well, there's a cease and desist because probably a lot of it is true. As some of the pundits said, even if it's not 100% true, the spirit of it is true.
Right.
And everything that's in that book, we have been saying for a whole year. I'm just saying.
Well, and if you look at back up first, though, say, who in his right mind let a writer into the White House to sit there and listen for a journalist? I mean, that was insane.
Well, they're not that right.
He had a lot of access, but what was interesting to me about the cease and desist letter, they say that there was sort of this non-disparagement agreement between, I guess, Bannon and the White House. And he also says that in some cases, there were outright defamatory statements made. So not in all cases, but in some cases. And
well,
that struck me as
that's a legal standard. That's a legal standard.
Yeah.
But I mean, the non-disparagement clauses, I mean, probably all our contracts have had them, right?
Mm-hmm. Is it normal to have a non-disparagement clause in government?
Well, I think this, I don't know, I think this went back to the campaign, didn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, which would have been government then. I don't know.
It said that Melania cried on election night. So did I. We all cried that night.
Well, we came in this morning and my head really was exploding in our morning meeting. And even last night, there's like this period of time between when the show ends and then we come back here and I'm like, oh, it's going to be a slow news day. I'm going to go home and cook. And then what is going on? What is happening? So I have to tell you, and you know this, Greta, because you're a journalist, the idea of giving any journalist, let alone someone like Michael Wolff, which, by the way, he has been described by the Washington Post's Paul Farahi as someone who, quote, pushes the facts as far as they'll go and sometimes further than they can tolerate. Giving him the kind of access where he is shadowing the president, talking to the top staffers for 18 months is not only unprecedented, but it is suicide and insanity. The only thing that I can come up with right now is that Steve Bannon is trying to take Trump out from the inside. That's the only thing that I can come up with because Steve Bannon is only all in for Steve Bannon. If I were teaching a political science class to a bunch of students saying, okay, grade 1, let me tell you this. Access is the #1 currency you have to play. Keep it as close to you as possible. Do not let journalists around you in this kind of faction. I don't understand it. It's beyond my comprehension.
Maybe he thought it was going to be complimentary, but what was interesting to me about what Bannon said
Just
was
laughing. Do you know what Whoopi said, honestly, sorry to interrupt you, Sunny, it was like letting the fox into the hen house.
Yeah,
I think
well,
that sums it up concisely.
I think what's very interesting and I think maybe most damaging to this presidency is that Bannon said that the two 2016 Trump Tower meeting between the Trump campaign officials and a Russian lawyer was treasonous. He also said that they would crack Donald Trump Jr. like an egg, and he also said that he'd be shocked, and I'm paraphrasing here, that Donald Trump did not meet with the Russians in the
couple
Tower.
first things.
That's a problem.
Let me play lawyer for just a second.
I play it every day.
I know you play it every day, and you play it very well, probably much better than I do. Is that we have obviously gotten the electrifying statements from the publisher because to promote the buzz to sell the book. I don't know what else is in the book. The things that Steve Bannon says is like it's treasonous. That would we don't know in what context or what his opinion is. Obviously, all this is electrifying and has lit all of us on fire. Has lit probably
but treason.
Right, that's it. No,
charge to be leveled.
but I don't.
Impeachable offense.
No, I understand that, but I use loosely, words too that I regret later. I have no idea, but I'm just saying is that I want to read the whole book.
Good. Well, we'll read it next week. But a lot of the things in the book make a lot of sense. For example, the guy never gives a press conference, Trump. We never see him interviewed. He said no to 60 Minutes because he doesn't know what you're going to ask him, and he doesn't have the answers. So he goes to his pal Sean Hannity, who's been trashing me, by the way. So let's discuss Sean Hannity for a second. Sean Hannity. One thing is that Sean was my friend. I worked with him for years. Full disclosure. No, I'm just full disclosure. I know you guys. I really don't. Wait, can I finish my thought is... And I'm not in favor of him trashing you or you trashing him, just as an aside. But he is the one that would give Trump the questions ahead of time.
He did?
Now, how much Kool-Aid has Sean Hannity drunk before he drowns is the question I have.
Something, Greta, that journalists typically do not do.
I
should not.
You just gave Sean Hannity his clip tonight. Like, that's the thing about this is it's not about... But I don't care about Sean Hannity. I care about the fact that we have...
He's a collaborator.
Could I finish my thought now?
He's a collaborator.
When you have journalists running around the White House in this capacity... when you have journalists running around in this capacity, absolutely unhinged, which we saw with Omarosa as well, that there's journalists running rampant that no one knows about, doing off-the-record and on-the-record interviews. There are national security secrets that could possibly being said that journalists now just apparently have all access to at all times. It's insanity, and I think it's a national security risk, which I care much more about than the national security risk.
Whose fault is that, though?
Yes, I agree, but that's the thing. But it's so much more. There's salacious.
So here's what I like about all of this. Yeah, is that you gave somebody you gave a journalist all this access. You hate journalists, apparently, because they only tell lies.
According to him.
Well, that's my point.
I think he probably thought it was going to be favorable, though.
Well,
don't you think?
I don't know what he was thinking. I just know that this is a person who can level crappy things towards people, but can't take it when somebody says something crappy about him.
Typical bully.
Well, it is a typical bully. And so what is really kind of wonderful is that the new guy keeps saying, well, basically this is what he's saying. I have no idea who that man is. I've never seen him before. He has nothing to do with my presidency.
Right.
I don't
200
know where he came. I don't know who is he. Yeah. That's what basically, because when you get your lawyers to threaten people, that's what you're basically saying. And you come out and you say, well, my presidency I did by myself. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Well, one of my favorite things in the book is that Jared and Ivanka decided, according to this book, that she would be the first woman president. And so she'll have Imelda Marcos as her cabinet secretary. What is it that Ivanka is qualified to do?
Well, I
would like to know.
Why are you looking at me? Why was your turn looking at me?
You know why? You're the journalist.
I thought I was the lawyer. I was hanging out with Sonny, the lawyer side. Megan's going to call me a journalist.
Why do you think that anybody thinks
I've been called more names since I've been here.
Why do you think anybody thinks that Ivanka's qualified to be president?
Because he's married to her. That's why he thinks she's qualified. Because they have baby pillow talk. That's the only reason.
So it's like the royal family and Charles gets the next
No. Look, here it is. They have incredible hubris. We know this.
Right.
Why wouldn't you think she was qualified? Why wouldn't she think she was qualified? She thought she was qualified to be in the White House, to be the person that the dad went to. And the boy has been, Jared has been sent to the Middle East to solve the Middle East problem. Come on. Are you surprised they think
To that point,
let me just ask you, with the question...
Wait, I have to stop everybody. I'm going to go and come back and talk about this some more. Okay.
Later, the party's over. While more teens are skipping the big night out to stay in and cruise social media, should parents be happy about this? See ya, 2017.
bye-bye.
And hello, New Year and new views. And in this new year, look who's getting their view on. Drum roll, please. Ashley, Wendy, Meredith, Catherine, Rob, Jordan, plus Rose McGowan on sexual harassment in Hollywood. And when it comes to fearless women, look no further. And oh, did we mention Sarah just had a baby? Wow! So tomorrow, Niecy Nash steps in to co-host. Oh yeah, the topics will be hot, right? New year, new view. Let's get things started. Prestige cream.
Welcome back. Where we left a few seconds ago, we were talking about this new book that's coming out with some really interesting claims from inside the White House called Fire and Fury. And apparently nobody thought that the guy was actually going to win the election. Right. That's one of the things that they said. And the other thing was that his daughter felt she was qualified to be the first female president. And I think I cut you off when you were about to say something about...
No, if she's qualified to be president, so am I.
Yeah.
Just saying, if it only takes your dad being a famous politician, and again, she is a businesswoman and all these things, but, you know, I think that we are Americans, and we don't have a dynasty on purpose. And I think especially in this specific climate of being against so many, the Clintons, the Bushes, et cetera, I think it would be a lot and sort of historically ignorant to think it would be easy just because of your last name.
Well, he wasn't qualified to be the president either.
That's right.
But I mean, historically, I mean, your father was eminently qualified to be president. He has a, you know, has a rich history, as Vice President Gore did, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. But I think it's fair to say that President Bush 43, who was a governor of Texas, and it's a little different governorship. It's sort of a half governorship, didn't have much. And neither did President Obama. Had been a state senator and a U.S. senator for a short period of time. So it's not like, you know,
Trump had no government experience.
No, I thought we were talking about Ivanka. I was talking about Ivanka. I said, you know, you know, it is not, you know, we historically think of people having an experience like Meghan's father and others, but we're seeing more and more different. But, you know,
she certainly can run. I would be interested to see her give an interview with anyone other than Fox.
Well, you know, we've been saying for a long time.
Honestly, you can't become president. Well, I guess you can.
You understand, I'm not saying she should run. I'm just...
We've been saying for a long time that I've said it from year one, that one of the reasons he ran is to make more money. I think that that's true. This is why the emoluments clause is hanging on his head and why he doesn't want anybody to see his tax returns. And so running for president raises his profile, gets people to go to his hotels. So he didn't want to win necessarily. He just wanted to make more money. Now he wins and it's like, well, whoop-de-doo. Yeah. I can make even more money. But he's going to get caught.
But, you know, go ahead, baby.
Another thing about Ivanka, I mean, we've talked about on the show how Ivanka is his favorite child. I mean, she's rumored to be his favorite child. But in this book, Ivanka reportedly jokes frequently about her father's signature comb-over. And she says that the unusual color comes from a dye called Just for Men, which her father washes away too quickly out of impatience, resulting in the orange-blonde shade. How did Trump take that? Like, was there a big family meeting yesterday?
It's his little girl.
Part of this is that Michael Wolff, the journalist, gossip journalist, whatever, that he does have a sort of nefarious background. David Carr wrote in 2008, historically, one of the problems with Wolff's omniscience is that while he may know it all, he gets some of it wrong. The Atlantic dubbed him a portraitist who has mastered the art of the suck-up, put-down. So, talking about the author of the book being not the most trusted journalist in the entire world.
Well, because he's surrounded by a lot of people who are not necessarily trustworthy. Why is this a surprise?
Come on.
But I think the point that Greta was making earlier is that we just have to take some of this with a grain of salt. I'm sure, like all things, there's some truth in here and there's some fiction.
Yeah.
But the problem is this is self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
You let a fox into the henhouse. You let a journalist shadow you for 18 months in the West Wing with your most trusted advisors and family. It's crazy.
Well, this is one of the things that I'm chuckling over. I'm chuckling over a lot of stuff, but he says he did 200 interviews, and then Sarah Sanders chimed in. She says, so far, from what I can tell, 95% of his interactions with officials were all done at the request of Mr. Bannon.
Yep.
So they are trying to push all of this onto Bannon and negate, which is what he does. You know, he gets caught with his pants down, and he says, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I didn't say, who is this guy sitting on on the edge of my bed every day?
But he was interviewed by him too, right?
Yes.
It appears it was.
You know,
This is a good one. There's a passage in the book that says that Trump used to brag that sleeping with your friends' wives makes life worth living. And so in pursuing, listen to this is good. In pursuing a friend's wife, he would try to persuade the wife that her husband was perhaps not what she thought. Okay. And then, wait a second, then he would have his secretary ask the husband to stop by his office with the wife secretly listening via speakerphone.
Oh my
and then,
gosh.
do you still like having sex with your wife? He'd ask the guy while the wife is on speakerphone. You must have had a better shtup than your wife. Trump would apparently ask friends, tell me about it. I have girls coming in from L.A. at 3 o'clock. We can go upstairs and have a great time. This is in the book. Now, who knows? I told Greta before during the break, and she said maybe Trump bragged about that.
No. What I said, I asked. She told me about this. I said, "What's the source? Is it directly from Trump, or is it from someone else saying that Trump is always being the lawyer looking for the facts?" Look, you know, this book is absolutely electrifying.
Trump told him.
I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know. I have nothing to do with this.
Listen to the Access Hollywood tape. Why would that be so incredulous?
Exactly.
Why would that not be true?
Because and I don't act like this, but it's factually possible that he didn't say this, but I certainly agree he said the Access Hollywood. I heard it with my own ears.
Yeah.
We heard it with our own ears. You know, but I certainly, you know, this whole book is absolutely electrifying. I worry what the rest of the world thinks as they read about this stuff, because they obviously pay very close
They've been
attention.
watching
No,
all
they
year.
pay
They
no,
know what the-
and you know, and there are a lot of really serious issues. I mean, I find far more, you know, as electrifying and salacious. And I admit I read all this stuff, and I'm pulling my hair out looking at this, thinking, oh brother, what's going on at the White House, and who let this guy in, and what's being said. But is that, you know, you've also got the far more profoundly more important problem is Kim Jong-un in North Korea and this Twitter fight over who's got the bigger nuclear button. Now that is not as electrifying as salacious.
No, but it was one piece, Greta, about how crazy the guy is and how corrupt he is and unethical. And how dangerous. It's
Greta
all the
has
same
been
thing.
covering many administrations, and I've called you a journalist. I hope that's accurate. That's how I've always considered you. But the territories that we are in right now are such intensely uncharted waters that it's difficult even for me as a commentator to come on here and comment on it every day, because it does feel like reality television. And what you're talking about globally, how the rest of the world sees us, again, I probably would guess half of this book is true, but the half that is true, even half is bad.
Any of it is bad. Any quarter is bad. It reflects very poorly on us. Very poor. You know, a quarter of it.
How could he possibly recover, or can he?
Well, you know, I said the same thing during the Clinton days when we had that. I mean, look, we were on fire during the Clinton days. We were covering that. Our hair was on fire every single day, and everyone's talking about constitutional crisis. They're talking about it now. I never thought we could recover. We did. We have a very resilient country, very resilient country, and this is noisy and salacious and ugly, and I don't want the world to see it. It's not the nuclear stuff with North Korea.
No, but it is of a piece. We're absolutely right. This is of a piece, because none of this behavior is in any of our bailiwicks. Truly, this kind of insanity on a daily basis every day. None of us are used to this. And so it's like, well, wait a minute. Now, you allowed a man to sit in your house, in the White House, for 18 months. Now, we hear stuff, we've heard stuff from other people, and people have said this and that, but the idea that you let someone be in there.
Yeah, how could you be that stupid?
How could you be that stupid?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And it goes to, it's the same reason you are foolish enough to say to Kim Jong-il, hey.
Mine is bigger.
Yeah.
You know, my button's bigger.
Yeah.
Like, period. Tim really cares. Because this is a guy who doesn't have any checks and balances. He doesn't care about your butt.
I will say, when you talk about people like Mitt Romney being insane and binders full of women, it makes you kind of miss for the days of people like Mitt Romney, right?
I agree.
Well, it also makes you miss the days. It also makes you miss the days of a president who acted presidential like President Obama. It makes me miss days like that more than anything.
One more point about how much of the thing is true. I am sure that Michael Wolff has tape.
Yeah.
He did not just, this is not just flying out of the air. He's got this on tape. Every good journalist knows to take
I keep getting
it.
pointed at. I've been so pointed at.
You are the designated survivor today.
What is this?
This really is Greta's fault.
Uh-oh. Alert.
What is it?
Is this what you want me to do? The White House is slamming Bannon, saying he's lost his mind and had little to do with his victory. But it's a long way off from how he used to feel about him. Take a look.
I like Mr. Bannon. Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. He's a friend of mine.
When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind.
And I like him. Steve had very little to do with our historic victory. He's a good man.
Steve is learning that winning isn't as easy as I make it look.
He is not a racist. Steve doesn't represent my base. He's only in it for himself. I think the press treats him, frankly, very unfairly.
Steve pretends to be at war with the media. He spent his time at the White House leaking false information to the media.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
I'm not sure what that just was. But it's, I guess it's his response that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. There is an alert.
What's the
that
alert?
we got? Donald Trump is now threatening Michael Wolff and his publisher over the publication of Fire and Fury. His attorney just sent an 11-page legal demand letter that Wolff and the company cease and desist from any publication of the book.
First
You know what?
Amendment.
This is what
That
the,
just
this
sounds
is
amendment.
And he wants an apology.
This is
And a complete retraction.
But that sounds
Apology.
You know, if he would only sue me, the great gas bag is going through the roof.
He's gonna sue him.
well.
Gonna sue him.
Keep in mind that he threatens to sue a lot of people, including the women who accused him, anybody who said anything, every journalist he doesn't like, everybody who, farts at the wrong time. He's mad. Okay, he's just mad. But you know what, dude? Grow a thicker skin. We'll be right back. So welcome back. So Hoda Kotb just got Matt Lauer's old gig at the Today Show.
Good for her.
And reportedly, she'll be making the same salary as co-anchor Savannah Guthrie, which is about $18 million less than what Matt made.
Oh.
Why?
Because they don't live in Iceland. Because Iceland has a new law that you can't pay women less. They should move the show to Iceland. Move the Today Show to Iceland.
You know what I predict for that? I think that if they say there's a law that men and women have to make the exact salary, they'll lower the salary.
Well, obviously it's being sarcastic.
No, but they have that law in Iceland. That's a true fact.
I mean, my understanding now is that Megyn Kelly is the highest paid female anchor or female news person at NBC.
She's the highest paid, I think. Period.
Highest paid period in the news. And I'm not begrudging anyone their salary, but Hoda's been at NBC for 20 years. And so the fact that you have someone that just came in that's making more money, you have your predecessor has just made more money, and bottom line is she has saved that show. She stepped into a really difficult situation, and the ratings are higher.
Hoda got this job the old-fashioned way. She earned it. She earned it. She's been in business forever.
And she's a lovely person. She's a crackerjack journalist. And it's all relative. $7 million, I'll take it.
But she's saving them from a PR crisis right now.
Yeah.
And the era of hashtag Me Too and your anchor was gone because he sexually harassed a bunch of women, allegedly enough for him to get fired. And she's saving them during this PR crisis. She's a beloved figure. I find it hard pressed to meet anyone who doesn't like her on television. So she's should be paid at least, if not $18 million, then at least 17.9.
Yeah,
I don't
bring it up, then bring it
understand.
up.
She's not making 18. She's making 18 less than Matt was making.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
And also, it's the same as Savannah, probably.
Yeah.
They don't want to give her more
Why
than
did Savannah get? I mean, even
Maybe
why
they
would
both
Savannah-
need a pay bump.
Well, that's why I said they don't.
Right?
Listen, nobody's running a telethon for anybody.
but it's
And they reached out to NBC for for comment.
Yeah.
But
Spokesperson said,
she told People magazine that she's the whole thing, I think the whole thing, money thing for me, I really have done jobs I like for the job, but I'm not making our money, not even close. But she was basically saying, like, that she doesn't necessarily take jobs for money, but I do think sometimes money shows your worth, at least how your employer sees you.
let me say what the NBC spokesperson said. The network doesn't comment on compensation.
No.
No. Do me a favor, though. Don't get me started on NBC management.
Oh, don't start.
No, don't start.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot on television.
When will women make as much as men? I mean, right now, I
When
guess
women
we make...
stop saying okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
because how
Megyn
did
Kelly-
they say...
It's the same thing. Listen, it's the same thing it's the same issue that we have with all of these things. If we don't stand up and say, listen, this is why you need to pay me more. This is what I bring to the table. If we don't support each other and say, yeah, this person is here. If we don't start screaming and saying, we're not standing for it, it's going to continue.
And we as women sometimes, at least I've been told before that, like, I remember when I was negotiating for a job, not this one a while ago, that I had a boss that was like, but you should be grateful to have this X amount of money. And I was like, so I'm pretty gangster and you're going to pay me what I'm worth, or I'm going to walk and you're going to find somebody else to do it. And I think that, again, it's probably an easier attitude for me because I have different kinds of job security, et cetera. But I was recently mentoring someone who was negotiating a deal, and I was saying, or I wasn't doing the negotiations, I was just giving her advice. And I said, they're always going to lowball you. Like, women are always lowball.
So your advice is I should get more gangster?
That you should get more gangster about it. Because would you talk to, I just think that women, we have to assert ourselves as well. And you may not get it. People may come back and
What
say
about
no.
sharing
You might as well
salary information
ask.
with each other? I mean, that's something that people don't necessarily do.
It's all in those secret contracts.
It's all in the secret
We all
contracts.
sign these confidentiality
And says
contracts.
you can't share it. And
It's so crazy because someone is sharing it. I read what people make all the time. Somebody's talking.
Yeah, people violate their contracts.
But
and let it out
the
there.
people. I think.
There's a recent story that an E! News host named Kat Sadler found out she wasn't being paid as much as her co-host, and she left the job. She said, like, I'm not being paid, so this isn't worth it to me anymore. So I do think there are situations where she's obviously like, you know what, I've given you, I think she was there like 12 years.
Because her co-host was making, she felt she deserved it also.
Jason
It was a male co-host, and I think she was making less than half.
Yep.
But I'm not
where
sure
are the
about
women
that.
in the management who are letting this happen down below? That's what because there's sometimes you have women higher up in the management, and we don't know what other people are making. You don't know if you're making less than your male
there should be a
counterpart.
law about that. They should start to put that
how are they
into
going to enforce
effect.
that one? Good luck
Everybody
with
should
that
know
one.
what everybody's making.
I don't know.
Especially at the corporate level.
Come on, you're allowed to. You have to have privacy in how much you make. But you'd think that some of the women who are high.
I think in a corporation.
What right do you have to know how much I make?
But if women share that information with each other,
Well, go ahead.
then
Have
it makes
at it.
us all more powerful.
Well, no. I would prefer my privacy, maybe because I'm at the benefit of having had substantial contracts that I liked. But I think that the bigger thing is women who are in management.
But does not sharing it make...
Gotta go. We'll be right back. Had a discussion this morning about relationships and when is a relationship hitting a rough patch. Do you know the difference between a rough patch and when it's time to break up?
Oh.
And do people recognize it? Because apparently folks are, having a hard time knowing, I guess, when it's just a tough time.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I remember when I was first dating Steve, we went to California on a trip together, and he was so annoying on the trip that I said, I'm breaking up with him as soon as I get back. And then on the plane, we had some kind of little sex thing.
What?
Not like a major sex thing, but like making out, and I liked him again, and then I stayed with him. That's my little story.
Did you join the Mile High Club?
No, I didn't do the Mile High Club. No, that's no. No, that's too much for me.
She's not that agile.
Just a
okay?
little fooling around. I'm not.
You have to be agile to do the
You
Mile
go
High
in that
Club.
bathroom, you can't get out
Not
of it.
Yeah.
I was going to get more involved in this discussion since I've been with my husband and I have been together since 1979, but I'm privacy about money, let alone whatever Joy wants to talk about. You know, it's I think my husband has probably found times when it's difficult to live with me. That may come as a surprise to you.
What's the worst thing about you, Greta?
I don't close drawers. I don't discipline the animals. I don't pat the cats and the dogs. I'm late. I mean,
that's it.
I don't cook. I'm good at vending machines, carry out, delivery.
That's a quality.
I mean, all the qualities. You know, I'm generally good-natured, though. I mean, it's not bad. You know,
You're pretty even-tempered.
Pretty even-tempered. But you know, there's probably a list. There's probably a list. But you know, people give up too soon.
I was going to say, I feel like a lot of it is commitment. Manny and I will be together married 20 years in August. And, 20 years. And I will say the first 2 years of our marriage were really horrible.
Really?
Yeah, they were really horrible because we hadn't lived together. And so I moved out of my place, he moved out of his place, and we lived together for the first time. When we were fighting, I've told this story about toilet paper. He said I used too much toilet paper. I was like, screw you, I don't care about the toilet paper. He was like, you got to buy the toilet paper all the time. It was just like all these crazy things, and I constantly was like, I think I made a mistake. Oh my God, I made a mistake, I made a mistake, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And the advice that we got from our families was just write it out, write it out. You made this commitment. You made us all come to that wedding and, you know, write it out. And then it got better.
My father was a gambler, a compulsive gambler. And she would say, I'm saying this, it sounds terrible. She'd say, I wish you would hit me. Like she needed a reason to leave him. Yeah. Of course, he was never going to touch her, was going to hit her. He was not that kind of person. But because he was a gambler, she did not, in that generation, it didn't even matter. Like they could... What was the worst thing they could do? Hit you, of course. And once they hit you, you're out of there. That's my advice. But and gambling is
not to make you nervous since you were the newlywed.
Just got married.
Been married like a month and a week. So.
What would be a deal breaker for you?
Yeah, what's a deal breaker?
Cheating. I don't think I could. I'm very like territorial, and I don't think I could get over the trust thing. But I will say that anytime that we're fighting or like having a rough patch, whiskey and a night in and cooking will really solve a lot of problems. At least for me.
Yeah, right.
Like just take moments because it's so easy with technology. Just reconnect. Just have a moment where you're like having a date night. I prefer like in our house because I like to cook, but I think that it's really tough out there and social media makes it so much worse.
Because you're your best friend.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
What's your deal breaker, Whoopi?
My deal breaker probably is I don't want to be married. I don't want to do this. Is the truth. I never wanted to be married.
But you did it.
And I kept doing it because I thought this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it's not for me. I don't like it. I don't want somebody in my space. I don't care what you think. I don't want you asking me
about the
questions
toilet paper.
why I'm doing this and why I'm doing that. I earn my way.
So your deal breaker is he's breathing.
Basically. We'll be right back.
Place in daytime dishing out the hottest topics.
It is up to all of us to continue the conversation.
This is a cultural revolution.
That's my opening statement if I'm a prosecutor. Boom, case made. I'm sick of it.
She's sick of it.
So grab your phone and join the conversation.
I'd love to see that.
And don't miss The View on ABC. Go!
Welcome back. Apparently, millions of Americans are obsessed with this new app, HQ, which is a trivia game that gives out cash prizes. And here's one winner who's going viral because she just sort of flipped out when she won. And she caught the eye of the folks who created HQ. Take a look.
Did I not get it? What did he say? In 2018, if you chose...
Yeah. So what I want to tell you about... Now, she won $11. I'm sorry, $11.30. And one of our folks here, the lady that looks after us, Molly, also won $11.
Yes. Shout out to Molly.
Everybody was quite, energized. Now, are people getting energized about this because it's something that you're doing as a group? Is it something that you're doing with other people? Is that what it is?
It's part of it. I'm slightly addicted to it as well. I play it twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day when there's an extra game. It's like, first of all, you get bragging rights if you win. I have never won. I've only gotten to the 8th question. There are 12 questions, and you answer each question in 10 seconds. But you're playing with everyone across the world.
The world, right?
And if you win, your name goes across the screen with the amount of money that you won. And so you can take a screenshot, and then there's bragging rights.
So a lot of people win.
No. It's usually like 30 people. It starts out with like over 500,000 people
Okay,
playing.
now I'm going to
and then you're one of
look for
30.
your name now all the time.
I'm Sonny the Wiz.
Right, Sonny the Wiz. Sonny the Wiz, not yet.
Not yet.
That could sound, you get bad hearing. That
Sonny
could
the
sound
Wiz?
like Sonny the Witch.
Oh, my son's hooked that name up.
I don't like it.
Your son calls you
Sonny the Wiz. He signed me up for it. But it really is. It's like it's trivia. Who doesn't love trivia? Like you feel smart doing it.
I'm going to get on it.
You got to do
I
it,
want to
Greta.
do it. I want to
So
do
it's
it.
like Jeopardy.
It's just like Jeopardy, and you can actually win money. You can't cash in unless you win $20.
So
At
she
least.
didn't even get the money.
No. She didn't even get the money.
Oh my God.
It's amazing, and the host that does it, Scott, is amazing at it. We should have him on the show.
He should be a guest host.
Yes. Come on, guys.
Now they're booking the show.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with who's on the show.
Obviously, right?
Clearly. We'll be right back.